What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to how did these weird steel structures defend London? This video was recommended to me in the comments section of a previous video. I don't really know anything about this place except that it's called the Red Sands Forts. Beyond that, I really don't know what to expect, but based off the thumbnail, this looks like a really cool place. Definitely the type of place I would like to explore if I ever got the chance. So anyways, guys, let's just go ahead and dive in and check out how did these weird steel structures defend London.
In the wide expanse of the Thames Estuary are some of the most remarkable relics of the Second World War. These strange steel structures were built to protect London from aerial and surface
I was wondering what they were originally built for.
Germany. Abandoned, exposed to the elements, they later became a broadcasting hub of pirate radio. I'm thrilled to have finally got the chance to visit this remarkable site. Welcome to the Red
That's so
Sands
cool, man.
Seafort.
I would love to visit a place like that.
I'm just leaving the River Medway now. We're just turning to the east into the mighty Thames Estuary. There on the other side is Southend, that's Essex over there. And this was a hugely important part of...
Okay, before we move forward, guys, so I know that this is the main river that goes through London. Do you pronounce it Thames or Thames? I'm not exactly sure, but how far away are the Red Sands Forts from London? And also, it looked like it was in the middle of the ocean, so this river must be huge. I'll have to look into that river a little bit more because I really don't know much of anything about it, to be honest.
The world. The River Medway, all sorts of vital British shipbuilding industries, naval base down there. And so you can see on the end of Sheppey here, you've got Garrison Point Fort, built in the 1860s, part of the invasion scare of the 1860s. Big installation there. And then on the other side of the Medway, you've got a Napoleonic Martello Tower that's uncovered at low tide. You can walk to the shore. At high tide, it's cut off from the shore. That's got the coolest address in Britain. Number 1, the Thames. You can buy it if you've got a spare couple of million quid. And really, they're all
Wait, you can go there?
Density of military fortifications to protect what lies that way, west. The biggest city in the world in the late 19th century, the richest city in the world, the biggest port, the capital of the world's largest empire, London. Just up ahead here is an extraordinary bit of history that I've always read about, always heard about, but never been up this close to. You can see 3 masts in the water there, and it's absolutely surrounded by a ring of buoys in the water. That's because those 3 masts belong to the SS Richard Montgomery. And on board that shipwreck are 1,500 tons of high explosives.
What? So they just left the shipwreck here. That's crazy, man. And there's just explosives, just wow. That's cool, man. That's cool.
The buoys are to keep people from getting too close.
Wow.
In August 1944, this was an American Liberty ship, an American ship that was lent to the Brits during the Second World War. It was carrying a huge amount of explosives. It dragged its anchor, came out across here and hit a sandbank. After a couple of days of desperately trying to unload the explosives, the ship broke in half, rolled onto its side, and it lies there to this day. It's one of the most famous shipwrecks in British waters.
Wow.
And one of the most potentially dangerous.
That's wild, man. Never would have expected that in the middle of this
In
river.
the first few months of the Second World War,
So I have another question about this river. How deep is this river? It doesn't seem like it's really that deep. Although, I guess, you know, there's so much, from what I understand, there's a ton of like the shipbuilding and, you know, it's where a lot of the ports were and whatnot throughout London. So I'm guessing it has to be fairly deep. Maybe, like I said, there's high tide and low tide. Maybe at low tide, it just, it kind of gets too shallow or something. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, guys. Also, if you have a good video to share with me about learning about this particular river, because I obviously know this is a very important river, especially to London and also just to the UK in general, please let me know in the comments below.
Too many ships were sunk in the Thames Estuary by German mines.
Most of them
were made by aircraft. Urgent action was needed. Guy Maunsell, a civil engineer, was called in to address the problem. Plans were drawn up and approval was given for the manufacture and installation of 3 sets of army forts
wow.
and 4 naval forts in the Thames Estuary.
That is so cool.
The result was something quite magnificent.
Okay, I've come aboard now the Red Sands Fort. This is the 7 towers here. One of them can still be accessed by this ladder. There used to be walkways between them. You can still see the remains of one there, but the rest have all fallen into the sea.
Oh.
What an amazing place.
Wait, are these the original walkways? I would have assumed if they are, they would have rails on each side. That's wild, guys. I wonder how deep it is right here. This is so cool, though, man. Is there any way for just a tourist to charter a boat and come out here and visit this place, or is this something that's kind of off limits to your average person? Because if I could go check out this place, I totally would. This is definitely something I would find very interesting to go and explore. I wish they were all connected, though, still. That'd be awesome if you could do that. It'd be really interesting if they would kind of set this up as a tourist attraction. I don't know if it is. I don't think it probably is, though. Let me know in the comments if it is.
Built during the Second World War as anti-aircraft platforms. They were never intended to survive 80 years, but here we are.
That's crazy.
The guys have just gone up this ladder. The padlock's been chopped off, so some trespassers have been here, so they're going to have to check what kind of state it's in. Extraordinary structures. They don't like they should survive. They're perched on these 4 poles buried into the bed of the Thames, and with these strange steel boxes on top, corroding, rotting, falling into the sea, broken windows, used by all the seagulls, cormorants. And on top of each one there would have been, Bofors guns, anti-aircraft guns, blazing away at the German Luftwaffe aircraft who used the Thames like a huge silver funnel on a moonlit night, pointing straight at the heart of London. It was an incredible navigational aid. And these forts were designed to make that journey up the Thames as painful as possible for the German Luftwaffe.
Wow.
It's always said, and I completely agree now that I'm here, these look like the Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back walkers in the battle on the ice of Hoth. It's said that the designer for Star Wars did get his inspiration from these otherworldly structures.
It's so cool, dude. I love just old structures like that. Just really amazing. Places that are, it's surprising they're still there, you know. It's just the history of those places.
Pipes aboard, but welcome anyway.
Thank you very much. Wow. And that's how they would have got up during the war?
That's correct, yes.
Right, that's okay. It's all safe to stand here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
You're actually standing on this area here is a concrete plug which joins the legs together.
Okay.
And this is that trapezium point that I said about, you know, the pyramid.
Oh, that's where all the strength comes.
So that's the safest place in one of those. It's right there.
What an amazing spot. I mean, it's battered by conditions out here in the Thames Estuary.
It's the most hostile conditions you can ever possibly imagine.
When they built them, they must have thought it was just...
Oh, you guys have, sorry, this is a little off topic, but you guys have windmills out there too. How big is this river or this estuary here? Man, this thing is huge. That's something else I want to look into, guys, because we don't really have a ton of that in the U.S., ton of like wind farms and things like that. We have some, obviously. I don't know if we have any, you know, off the coast. Maybe we do. I don't really know, but I definitely like to explore that because I know you guys in the UK kind of have a lot of that. So I'd be interested in exploring that as well.
The idea that we're here 80 years later is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Without any major works being done.
Yeah. So when were they put up?
The design went to the ministry in 1941 from Guy and Maunsell. Initially came up with the naval force design, which is the 2 cylinders and the flat pedestal on the top, you know, and the Bofors guns either side at the top, and then on the outer.
Hold on. So is this one that is now gone? Because this obviously is not what they're at. So is this Whatever this is still around, or is this something that's been long gone?
You had the 3.7s. They went out first, and then these were actually erected between July and September 1943.
So by the time these were erected, the heaviest air attacks on London had stopped. Did you see a lot of action?
Well, they saw 22 planes.
22 planes.
And they took, I believe it's 33 doodle bugs. And between them, they seriously injured an E-boat, which was coming up to place mines in the estuary. Right. As an early warning system, I mean, these were second to none. Because of the radar, they could see things almost when they lifted off from Norway.
Yeah.
You know,
that's crazy.
They could be prepared. Everybody be down in the shelters, you know, batten down the hatches, so to speak, and
Project
stand
Red
ready
Sand.
for another raid.
And they're out here in all weathers.
Yep.
It's been a bit scary in the winter. You can feel it moving now, can't you? Very slightly shaking.
We got. I mean, when you get the wash from the shipping lane, you can feel it a little bit more. But you know, as I say, the tests that they did on these before they commissioned them, you know, 40,000 shots fired from a 3.7 inch, being sprayed like mercilessly with seawater.
So they put a test one in and they just sprayed it with seawater.
Yeah, that's what I've been led to believe. So, unfortunately, since the pirate radio people left, this is, you know, place has become a pilferer's paradise. Let's say. I think it's probably the politest.
Oh, people come and steal bits off it.
I mean, all the brass fittings off the radiators.
That's a shame.
They've come along, literally just smashed them all off. Yeah. They briefly took a new lease of life after they were decommissioned in 1956, when coastal defence was abolished, and that's when the pirate radio guys stepped in. And they were on various towers in the estuaries between 1964 and 1967.
And then since 67, nothing?
Pretty much, until the project came along in 2003.
Well done you guys.
Yeah, so what's his project? Are they rehabilitating these places, or I guess that's what they're doing. I don't know, what are they, guides? What exactly do these people do?
Right, do you want to take me and show me some bits?
I'll start showing you around some of the rooms. Unfortunately, let's say this is a bit of a storeroom at the moment. This is the latrines.
Amazing. Latrines, toilets there.
And so what we do, we pump seawater up and we can flush those toilets.
Really?
This is one of the original baths.
So you've got a bath here. Is that another bathroom there?
That's another bathroom inside.
There you go, another bathroom there. Original bath still in there. How many people were using these facilities?
There was, between the 7 towers, there was 140 initially.
140 people?
Wow.
They went in 1943. Then that number increased to 180 by the end of 1943. By early 1944, there was 220 people stationed on each set of 7 towers.
Do they each have their own facilities? Or?
Well, you know, we've got the plans for each of the individual towers, but the accommodation was almost like a hotbed system.
So one thing I'm trying to see here, I'm trying to get an idea of how big each of these places are, like how many square feet they are. I don't know if they're going to cover that. And something else I'm really curious about, I don't know if they'll cover this either, is like, how long were these, say, 200, 220 people, whatever it was, stationed here? How long were they stationed here at a time? And were they just basically dropped off and then they're here, or did they have, you know, boats to take them away in case of an emergency? I wonder how that worked.
Individual towers, but the accommodation was almost like a hotbed system. So somebody got out of bed, you know, cleaned the teeth, somebody else got back into that bed. And that was shared between officers and men alike, obviously in their separate accommodations. Right. This is well, as you can probably gather from a project of this magnitude, we need plenty of place for storage for materials. This is one of our storerooms.
What was it back in the war?
I believe it was something to do with food servery.
So obviously they are fixing this place up.
All right, and that's good.
That was a dining room, yeah. Okay. But there was dining rooms on all of the 7 towers, obviously to cater for, you know, poor weather and people not being able to cross the bridges safely. You know,
it's a chilly day outside, but it's already quite hot in here. It would have been absolutely roasting in the sun. It would have been like an oven in here, wouldn't it?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
metal.
Started reinstating the windows, which I'll show you when we get back upstairs.
Oh man, that would have been hot.
We noticed like a massive hike of at least 3 to 5 degrees the minute we'd sealed those first windows in.
Wow.
Hot still day in the estuary, it'd have been warm up here. Right, where next?
If you like, head through to the right, please, and then we're going to head up the stairs.
Level 2. How many stories are there?
We've just got the roof after this.
Okay.
The sunshine deck, as we like to call it.
Sunshine deck. Look at that.
This was the original lifting equipment.
Oh, dude. Look at that view.
Box that was mounted up here, but that's long since disappeared. And as you can see, the cables run through the 2 ginny wheels there. out onto a dolly, and you can see right at the end is the remains of the dolly. There's also a navigation light. I mean, the light's long since gone, but the box is still there.
What does that say?
This is due to be
Red Sands Development. Can't tell what that says right there. Red Sands Development. I wonder what they're doing. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments.
Removed in the near future because this has got to be replaced, obviously, to enable us to get the big sheets of steel up to repair, to replace.
Big job in itself.
Isn't it just? Right, if you'd like to go through to the right. They had a light anti-aircraft attachment here. As you can see there, RAME, it's the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. And you can also see that on your door just to your left. And that's light anti-aircraft RAME detachment.
Oh, you've put the windows back in here.
Well, at the moment, let's say, there's still the original windows in here.
Oh, right. It's a great space, isn't it, up here?
It's beautiful, isn't it? It is like literally a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah, definitely.
On stilts.
Very comfortable. And what would have happened in this room here?
This was for the RAME, this was where they would have maintained the guns.
Right.
So any small firearms, like Lee Enfield's, Brent guns, if they had a problem with one of the Beaufort's guns, they'd bring it up here, and this was essentially a workshop, so.
Nothing wrong with the steel, is there?
Nothing wrong with it at all.
That'll last for a long time.
We had a structural survey done 2 years ago, and as I say, structurally it's absolutely not
Really?
100% mint, but she's pretty damn good.
That's
all
awesome.
The exterior panels, which are taking the weather in.
Yeah, of course.
And the plan was for last year, before COVID came in, was to get the shot blaster up here and start shot blasting and painting and replacing some panels. But
you'll get there.
Unfortunately, it's affected everything, so right, off to you.
I want to see him go across this, I call that a plank. I don't know, this bridge. So these were connected. Yeah, look at that again. Wow, man. So back in the day, back in the 40s, and probably, I don't know when these fell in, but these were all connected. So I wonder if it was like every single one of them was connected, or if like you came up here, you had to go backwards to that one, or if it was connected to this one and this one and this, you know what I mean? I wish I had the original specs, so to speak, to see what this exactly looked like. I'd also love to see what it looked like back in the day when the steel was new and whatnot. I bet it was really a sight to behold. It's still a sight to behold, but I can only imagine what it looked like when it was brand new. It's almost looks like helicopter pads or something. Obviously that don't make sense. Well, does it? Nah.
That room there's the ammo store. If you'd like to step through to the left.
Store there. Oh, this nice room.
So we're in the process of replacing all the hardboard. And when we come out here on the 10th and the 11th, all these boards are to be etched because hardboard, because it's a shiny coating, doesn't take paint very well. So the etch primer's going on and then they can all be painted. We've got the shot blaster, so literally next time you see this place,
oh, that'll be lovely, yeah.
It'll be a lot shinier. But as I say, on the outer side, on the opposite side of the tower, that's the side that takes the weather in, and that's the one we've got to replace the panels. But here we've got a decent crew room now. We can work in.
Oh yeah, you'll be warm and dry in here.
I tell you, stick that fire on. You think it's warm now? You stick that fire on, it's absolutely fantastic.
Inside that metal box,
It's not a bad
man.
Second World War posting. If you could
no
have been
doubt.
anywhere in the war, I think I would have probably taken this little platform in the Thames Estuary.
If you had a set of cards, yes, because you'd go a bit stir crazy otherwise.
Set of cards and a load of mates to chat to.
Yeah.
You'd be right. Room. Great.
This was the first room that we'd sealed up.
Yeah.
As I say, it's temporary modular windows, but it's preventing the egress of water, or ingress of water, I should say.
Oh, are those the original windows?
That's good shots. Oh,
I think you said it wasn't the other room.
Terrifying, isn't it?
There we go, Red Sands Tower there.
Just on the edge of the deep water.
Wait, is that where? No, that can't be where they're at. Okay. I'm gonna have to look this up and find out exactly where this is on a map. Yeah, it can't be right there. Cause like this. I don't really know anything about the bodies of water around this area. It's something I've definitely got to check out because I can actually get my bearings about me and understand exactly, where this place is, where I can picture it,
Water.
But this is looking out towards like Holland area.
Yeah.
because the currents here are so strong.
So the Shivering Sands is another fort there, wasn't there? And there was a fort back there.
Oh wait.
Let's say, yeah, that would have
This
been
is a current map?
approximately here.
It's amazing how shallow it is. You could almost walk out here from Whitstable, low tide.
Yeah, got a couple of artefacts to show you. Quite prudent because they're actually both found in this room. That, as you can see, is an old valve out of an old radio set.
Wow.
So
that's cool. From the pirate radio?
From the pirate radio eras, yes.
Yeah. Great. What else?
And you can just imagine the story behind this. Now, that's a mitre block that they used for cutting the architraves around the windows. Now, we found that just down here. Now, you can imagine, right, that it was probably the apprentice that lost it, and his master probably built that when he was an apprentice. So you can just imagine the rows that must have ensued. Yeah. It's like, now which room did you put it in? You know.
And then you found it.
And then we found it. It was literally.
Oh man, it's just sitting
when
there.
This panel is reinstated, there's going to be a little perspex piece there.
You'll put this back in.
And then that will go back where we found it.
Oh, that's cool.
We used those at school.
Yep.
Trying to remember how you do it.
It was not normally. Well, you normally have your piece in that way, and that would be your 45 angle.
That's right. That's
that
right.
Way,
yeah.
Still don't know what that says right there. Formation?
This was one of the original drinking water tanks. It's also used for the ablutions, for the flushings of toilets and baths. And this was one of the diesel tanks. And you see there the feeds that run straight down to Walter's boiler.
Oh yeah.
Almost directly below us.
But with the water, is that just rain? That's collecting rainwater.
Mostly collecting rainwater. Yeah.
No way. Plenty of
that's all from the gully system on the outside.
Oh, that's cool.
You can see the measurements on there. It's lovely. Okay.
The roof.
Here we are. This is where the anti-aircraft gun would have been. Wow. It's just like nothing, nowhere I've ever been. It's amazing.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Absolutely crazy.
The towers, as you can see here, this is gun tower 1. You've got another gun tower over there.
Oh,
There's
okay.
still a recording studio in that, apparently.
Right.
All the boxes. As you can see, radio 390, 6:30 to midnight. And there was another 3.7-inch anti-aircraft gun there. The opposite side of the control tower is another one, and in the far ground, right over the back, is where the 90-centimetre searchlight and the Gardner 6LW generators were. The control tower and the cookhouse, that's still got a working dumbwaiter in it, which is absolutely amazing. As I say, you can see with the 2 outcrops, that's where the 40mm Bofors guns were.
So you packed quite a punch here. I mean, it was a fort. It was designed.
There we go. I was wanting to see how the bridge. Okay, so I can't tell if these had bridges. I don't think they did. Okay, so it was just like you had one bridge in and out of these. It looks like. That's so cool, man.
Designed to knock planes out the sky, bombers out the sky, and also any German torpedo boats or mine layers.
Oh, there it is. I mean, it's not colored, obviously. I knew it wouldn't be, but okay. Now I get a picture of what that looked like. All right. Wow, man. That's so cool, man.
Mainly mine layers, but they could be spotted, because of the radar. The radar, which was housed in the control tower, obviously there was pickups on each of the towers, but the main equipment was in there, and it just gave us the edge.
Yeah. And powerful spotlights. The
90-centimetre searchlight is a carbon arc. The arc starts to dim, you move the rod in a little bit closer, and that increases the brightness.
Okay.
We've got shell ready-to-use lockers here, 32 in each. Unfortunately, where people have got on and opened them up, the weather's started to get into them now, because we did have them all bolted shut.
And the magazine would have been down below with a lift, or by hand?
No, they'll all bring them up,
Just
by hand.
them up.
There's a switch at the top of that door, and that was basically a red light, so that if the gun was firing.
Oh, I just noticed that that bridge that's there now doesn't have the handrails, but this had handrails. Okay, must be a temporary. I don't know.
So that if the gun was firing, nobody was coming up here apart from the gun crew, of course.
And this is to
armour plating.
Armour plating, right? So if an enemy round goes into there, it won't. It'll get absorbed.
It won't penetrate. Yeah, it's just absorb the impact and the energy. That's the remains of our mast, where we had yet another break-in. The guy's boat floated away. He decided to set a fire down there and destroyed the mast.
So come on. To get help.
Basically, yeah, just so people could see him.
So okay. Walkways here. This isn't a wartime one.
No, that was instigated around 2004, I believe. But say that's where the bridges would have fitted in between. Originally made by the Cleveland Bridge Co.
Yeah.
But say nothing was galvanised. But each of those, like each of the outer towers, could refuel, or replenish from any side. Hence why you can see the tower down there, with what's left of the fendering. We've replaced all the fendering on this tower.
Yeah.
And subsequently, you haven't got any of that on the control tower.
Yeah.
So originally, there were these bridges between all of them, or was it like a hub and a spoke?
It was essentially the control tower, was the main hub of, all the activity, with all the other bridges connecting to all the other individual towers. The longest span going out the back was, I think it was about 47 metres.
That's such an unusual idea, isn't it? Building it's a sea fort. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
You imagine all the Germans coming down to follow the Yellow Brick Road in towards London, and then the sea suddenly starts opening up in you, because these are all built under secrecy.
Yeah.
Obviously deployed under
a nasty shock. One day your plan is to get these bridges back and.
Once G1's completed, it's to be a World War II Coastal Defence Museum and also pirate radio. We've got.
Oh, dude, that's so cool, man! All right, I was wondering. Yes, that's awesome. That is awesome. So, that answered my question. I can't go right now, I guess, but, if I was over there, I couldn't go right now. But like one day, once they finish, you can visit this. That's so cool, man.
A lot more artifacts that we've collected over the years, but, as you can see, the situation
that's
at the moment.
Great idea.
Don't bring them out because they'll disappear. So.
Well, I'm looking forward to coming back and seeing how you go.
It'd be great for to be able to show you exactly what we've achieved. So.
After climbing down from the top deck, I met with Flo McEwen, who has spent years researching the stories of these forts.
In all your years of researching the forts, what are some of your favourite stories?
I think for me it was interesting just to see how it was living on the fort and the challenges these guys faced.
That would be interesting to see.
Although they were in the middle of the war, the big challenge they had was boredom. If you imagine you're out there, there's a bit of action, but not a lot of action.
Right.
So there's a lot of hours in the day to fill. And the guys serving on the forts were encouraged to take up arts and crafts and knitting and painting and all kinds of things just to keep them occupied. And there's a tale of what they used to do to keep themselves interested. And what they would do is get a bacon rind and throw it to the seagulls. And then somebody came up with the idea of tying a piece of bacon rind to a long string and another piece of bacon rind and throwing it. And so two seagulls would grab it, swallow it, and there would be this amazing dance and a fight between the seagulls, and the guys would bet to see which of the two seagulls would be the winner. It's extraordinary.
There would have been challenges being out there, that's for
Absolutely.
sure.
And loneliness, fort madness was something they talked about, and just genuinely not knowing what was going to come. We know how the war ended. We know how it played out.
True.
Those guys are out there.
They had no idea.
In isolation and in darkness at night. It's a very long, dark night to spend on a fort. And imagine you don't know what's coming. The searchlights up there looking out for the enemy aircraft. And once that, the signal goes up that it's all about to kick off, suddenly they're in action.
They must have had fun, those radio guys. It's a great place to be, and they were doing something quite cool.
It's quite extraordinary, isn't it? And if you remember back then, radio was so dull. Normal radio was dull, so they needed an outlet, for the more exciting music that was coming across from the States. And they needed somewhere to broadcast. And there they were out there in the coolest location ever, a real playground with this amazing music. It was just great times.
There was something so magical about climbing onto that fort. It was envisaged that it would just last 5 years, and nearly 80 years later, it's still standing proud, taking everything that the sea can throw at it. But, time and tide has had an effect. So have a few vandals that have been out there. And if they're going to restore those, the team here have got a huge challenge on their hands.
Yeah.
But I just wish them all the best. And if they manage to get those back into wartime condition, well, then there'll be some of the most remarkable heritage properties to visit anywhere in the UK.
Wow, guys, that was cool, man. When I first saw the thumbnail, I had no idea. I was like, and I saw the title, I was like, how did these weird structures defend London? I had no idea what this was. But now it makes a lot of sense, obviously. And this is just wild. I've never seen anything quite like this before. But this is definitely the type of thing that I find very interesting. Definitely somewhere I would love to go explore. You know, if one of these days when I'm in, you know, the UK, when I'm in the London area, it'd be really cool if this place had been fixed up and I could visit it. I definitely would visit this. What he said it was going to be a museum at some point. I hope they're successful with that because, yeah, something amazing like this, you know, it's great when people restore these types of places and use them for something to showcase, you know, what they were originally for. In this case, they were originally to protect London during World War II. And that's amazing that they were only supposed to last 5 years, and here we are 80 plus years later, and they're literally working to restore them. How cool is that, man? Just honestly, just shows, you know, how great the quality of work they put into these places were if they lasted this long, considering they were only supposed to last 5 years. But that's awesome, guys. But not only this, but also just the river itself. I'm very, very interested in learning about this river now because it's massive. I had no idea it was this huge. I mean, it literally looks like you're sitting here in the middle of the ocean right now. Wow. Obviously, I'm guessing this is, he said something about you could possibly walk out here. Obviously, I don't think he really means that. I don't think this is like 4 foot deep or something, but I do have a suspicion that it's not as deep as, you know, it looks. You know, based off these poles here, I'm guessing it can't be, but so deep. I don't know how deep. If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, guys, thought this place was awesome. If you have any other places similar to this that you think I'd like to check out, please feel free to leave them in the comments. But thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments, suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Till next time, guys. Peace.